From the Bay Area's local news station, we begin now with breaking news.
Good morning, I'm Daria Volsum.
And I'm James Fletcher. The breaking news this morning comes to us just in front of the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. This is the westbound 80 connector ramp from westbound 580. And you can see we've got two tankers there. One of them scorched because it caught fire earlier this morning.
Yeah, and they got the fire out, but they haven't gotten the oil out of the tanker. So that's what they're working on now. Then they'll be able to tow it away. The tires, some of them have melted off in the fire, so they have to use that big flatbed tow truck that you see in front of the tankers. And just behind the tankers is where Sarah Stinson is.
Yeah, she's standing by with a live report with the very latest. Sarah, bring us up to speed. What do you see?
Well, they're about halfway through trying to transfer the oil from the truck that caught fire to a new truck. You can see them with the hose right there. They are putting it back from the new truck to the old truck. They had to start at a different angle, get it from the top end, but there is still 2 lanes closed here on the connector. You can see only 1 lane open, which is good because earlier it was shut down completely for an hour, which has been causing backups since 5:16, and that's several hours of just crazy traffic. We've been following it nonstop, but we want to show you why this all happened in the first place, why this backup's here. At 5:16, this is an Allegra trucking rig. It was full of cooking oil. Just found out it's soybean oil. Never even heard of that. Was traveling westbound on 580 on the connector towards 80 and the Bay Bridge when a tire blew. He was driving and the tire just completely blew. And then it started sparking. Now, the tow driver noticed and stopped when the sparks grew to flames. He tried to put it out with a fire extinguisher, but that didn't work. Now, the fire spread to other tires and grew in size. A Good Samaritan pulled over, tried to help out, but the fire wasn't going out, so they then called Alameda Fire. They were able to put out the fire quickly, thankfully, and fortunately it was contained to the bottom of the rig. The oil was untouched because that would not have been the same story if the oil caught on fire as well. And fortunately, this is not a tanker full of gasoline. That would be a terrible scene here. We would be not even here right now. So the driver can't go on camera because of his company policies, but he did tell us he's feeling very lucky to be alive. He said he got out of there as quickly as he could. He tried to put out the flames, but it just wouldn't go out. So he's very grateful for the person who tried to help and the fire department. But 580 was shut down for an hour completely, nothing moving. Now, as I said, that 1 lane is open on the connector, but crews are really trying to move quickly here and get that oil transferred from that truck. That way the truck can be towed, but it is quite a job here. Now, we spoke with CHP in the last hour, and they told us it's going to be quite a couple hours. This is the tow truck that we're looking at. There's several here, but this is a huge tow truck. That's the kind you need for a big rig like this. So this is something that's going to be impacting Bay Area traffic for several hours. So we'll continue to follow it right here on the KRON 4 Morning News. Robin Winston has been really good about telling people about alternatives because right now, this is the situation. Well, we'll send it back to you.
You know what, Sarah? Maybe you should ask those guys about how long it takes to, like, siphon the oil typically, because I used to have a hot tub, okay, and mine was way smaller than that tanker, and it took me hours to either fill up or empty that thing. Man. So I would like to know that.
Well, she said I think they're halfway through, so...
It's got to take, like... my thing, it used to take out like 2 hours, at least 3 hours. My hot tub was a lot smaller than that.
We've got a big high-rate pump going on there, hopefully.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Not for your commute.
Yeah, not by 10 o'clock. It's going to take some time. And then remember the freeway, the part of the ramp under the big rig.
Right.
That's like scorched. So they have to take a look at that and make sure it's okay. Does that need to be repaired?
Right.
You know, was it damaged at all? So we have to look at that too, even after they clear the big rig. So
and then they open the lanes, and then it doesn't just go whoosh. Everybody's good now.
Yeah, it takes a long time to recover from incidents like this. I mean, 80 West, that is a major major connector ramp from Oakland to San Francisco, and taking away that ramp from hundreds of thousands of commuters. Yeah, you're going to get gridlocked. So let's take a look at the backup. I'm seeing some heavier traffic now. About an hour ago it was okay, but we have some late commuters, some late risers, or maybe they've just been holding off, you know, hoping and wishing that this would be gone by now. But 580 is much, much heavier. You are backed up all the way into San Leandro, right around Estudillo. So it's 41 minutes now just to make it from 238 into downtown Oakland. And remember, once you get through the scene, there's only one lane open. If you come in from 24, that's going to be backed up on the Orinda and Lafayette side. The Oakland side is fine, but keep in mind that when you merge from 24 to 580, you're going to be sitting in that backup. So you can dump off early. You continue over to 980. You can hop off at West Grand. West Grand gets you up to the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza. That's another option, or 980 to the Nimitz Freeway. So let's look at the Nimitz going north. It's backed up too out of San Leandro from 238, just crawling into downtown Oakland at 30 minutes. So that is your best alternate, or even consider BART if you don't want to sit in this traffic. So I'll stay on top of the slowdowns. We'll look at some more bridges and trouble spots coming up in a bit. John?
Well, Robin, today, not the busy day as far as weather goes. We're just looking at some cloudy conditions out there across the Bay Area, such as you see from Berkeley. Tomorrow is the day that all eyes are on, because that's when the rainfall arrives. Today, overcast, as you can see in Futurecast, but as we make our way into tomorrow, it's all going to start with just a few light showers in the morning. So, wet roadways in some spots to be getting your morning commute started off. The heaviest of rainfall, though, isn't expected until tomorrow afternoon, which after 4 p.m. will really move into the Bay. Yellow and orange indicating that heaviest of rainfall, which will take us through your drive home from work tomorrow on through tomorrow evening, and it results in a lot of rainfall in a pretty short period of time. That could slow you down and result in some very wet conditions. Keeping an eye on that, but today, well, don't worry about the umbrellas so much as you will just the light jackets. San Francisco and Oakland in the mid to low 60s, a cool down from yesterday, and with some breezy conditions at times, you will want the jackets with you. San Jose, a 72-degree daytime high for you, making for a comfortably cool one. I'm talking more about tomorrow's rain still to come. Daria James.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Let's talk Warriors now, because they're starting their series against the Portland Trailblazers tonight in Oakland.
They are, yeah, the Western Conference Finals. They're going to have to do it without Kevin Durant. As we know, he's not going to be in this game, or maybe even game 2. They're kind of just assessing it day by day.
Kerr said that he's still in pain, and they're practicing as if he will be out for the entire series, because that's what they need to do. So here's Clay doing his work, and they're going to be relying a lot, like they did against the Rockets without KD. Everybody had to pick it up, especially Steph and Clay.
Yeah, so Kevin Durant, as you know, suffered that right calf strain. We've got video of that play against the Rockets, and there he is in the foreground, limping. There he is grabbing his calf, and of course now we know it's a strain that's going to take a while to heal, much longer than fans would have liked. But, you know, that's the situation as it stands right now as we head into tonight's matchup.
Yep, and the big starring matchup will be Steph Curry against Seth Curry. And then also the Blazers have Damian Lillard.
Oakland native.
But playing for the wrong team, so I don't know if the hometown will be rooting for him. But Steph says it's going to make for a tough opponent.
I'm sure it's definitely special for him, and he obviously represents Oakland everywhere, and the opportunity that he gets, and understand obviously this is the last year at Oracle too, so it'll be special for him and his family, him growing up right down the street from Oracle, but unfortunately I don't want it to be a happy ending for him. I want it to be for us, so that's our job.
I like that.
Yep.
He represents Oakland everywhere except for in Oracle, by the way.
That's funny. Tip-off at 6 o'clock tonight.
And don't forget, before the game, to turn on the TV to KRON 4, because we have a special at 4:30 on the big game, and it'll be streaming, too, on KRON On. Breaking news overnight, 2 people had to go to the hospital because of a fire at a factory in Sacramento. It took more than 100 firefighters to put it out. 2 people went to the hospital, but 250 people were inside, and they got out safely. Now they're investigating the cause of that fire.
A jury has decided to award $2 billion to a Livermore couple who claimed that they developed cancer after using the weed killer Roundup. Alva and Alberto Pulioid was awarded the money yesterday by a jury in Alameda County. They say that the weed killer caused both of them to develop non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. This case is the 3rd to result now in a verdict against the company Monsanto and its owner Bayer. In a statement, Bayer said it's disappointed with the decision and does plan to appeal it. In the East Bay, Hayward police now trying to track down a driver following an officer-involved shooting. It happened yesterday afternoon. It was on the 2800 block of 28,000 block of Capitola Street. No officers hurt. Unclear if the driver in the car was hit by any of those bullets, as that person was able to get away following the shooting, so they're still looking for him.
In the South Bay, a youth pastor at Saratoga Federated Church is accused of sexually abusing 4 young men. They say that 31-year-old Joseph Silva Jr. sexually abused them, and he was arrested on those charges, as well as charges of possession and distribution of child pornography. The church says they contacted officials immediately, and Silva is suspended now. They are looking, investigators are checking into 2 other potential victims.
This suspect was providing alcohol to minors during that time. This time we are conducting a full investigation on this person, and we hope to bring him to justice.
Silva was also a teacher at the West Valley Presbyterian Church in Cupertino, but investigators say they do not at this point have a reason to believe there are any victims there. On the peninsula, investigators have identified the body found on Thornton Beach last Thursday. It was 24-year-old Garrett Harrell from Daly City. Apparently, he fell from a cliff at Muscle Rock Beach. 8:10 is the time right now. Other news that we're following, James.
Yeah, in the South Bay, a house fire in East San Jose leaves 8 people now without a home. San Jose Fire posted this picture from the scene while they were there. It broke out yesterday afternoon in the 2600 block of McLaughlin Avenue. 1 person had to be taken to the hospital, but we're told that person has minor injuries.
Time now is 8:10. A developing story this morning. 4 people died and 2 are still missing after 2 planes collided midair in Alaska. The passengers were from the Royal Princess cruise ship. Passengers on one plane were taking a short excursion tour, and then the other plane was an independent tour. The U.S. Coast Guard is still searching for the 2 that are still listed as missing, and the NTSB is investigating.
We'll take a quick break at 8:11, but still ahead on the KRON 4 Morning News, we're going to take you to the vigil that honored an East Bay teenager who died in a car crash. More on that in a minute. Plus, more violence at a Bay Area bowling alley, and we'll tell you what police are saying about a robbery investigation related to all of that. And after the break, reaction from neighbors after a California woman was beaten to death with a scooter.
And no rain today, but it is on its way. You can see it just offshore right now. When is it heading our direction? I've got your forecast.
And I'm tracking a major hotspot in the Oakland Maze. You're looking at the 580 West connector to 80 West. They have only 1 lane open as they transfer soybean oil from a tanker truck that caught fire to another truck. It's a lengthy process. We'll check the backups and alternate routes coming up.
8:29, and let's get back out live and see how this tanker's doing. Ooh,
well, there's
that's
some
good
progress.
news. That means they drained it.
Yep.
They transferred the oil, and now we just got to get rid of this tanker.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, there were 2 tankers here side by side earlier. One of them damaged by fire, and they were offloading all of the cooking oil that it was transporting onto a second tanker, which, as we can clearly see in this shot, isn't there anymore.
That's good news.
Yeah, so let's get to the scene. We've got KRON 4's Sarah Stinson standing by with the latest. So that's great progress, Sarah.
Yeah, great progress. It took about 45 minutes to an hour for them to transfer that soybean oil from one tanker to the other. Obviously, from the burned tanker to a new tanker. That's gone now, and you can see live right here, a tow truck is pulling up to the tanker, trying to figure out how they're going to tow this truck away, because these tires are completely just ruined, because one of the tires actually blew and then started sparking. This happened at 5:16 in the morning. This is an Allegra trucking rig, and when it started to spark, the truck driver noticed and stopped, went outside, got outside of the truck, started to see that those sparks were growing into flames. So he tried to put it out with a fire extinguisher. That didn't work. The fire spread to the other tires, grew in size. Even a Good Samaritan pulled over, tried to help with a fire extinguisher of his own. Didn't work either. So Alameda Fire eventually came to the scene, helped them put the fire out completely. Fortunately, it was contained to the bottom of the rig. You can see that the tank is impacted a little bit, but the oil was untouched, so that was really fortunate. And again, as I said, this is soybean oil, not gasoline, and the oil was untouched, so all good news. Now, It's taken several hours now. Again, this is from 5:16 until right now, and Times 580 was shut down completely. As you can see right now, there is one lane open remaining. They may even shut that down temporarily as they begin to get closer to towing this truck, but those tires are undrivable, so they're going to have to pick this truck up and make sure that that's not dragging on the ground. After they get this truck removed, they're then going to have Caltrans, they're already here, they're going to have to assess the road, make sure this overpass on this connector is okay after such a little fire here. I mean, you can see the charred ground and just the repercussion from the fire. So we'll have to follow this, see how long it takes. But we heard in a live interview that it could take several hours for them to be able to reopen this. So we'll see. It's looking like they are making progress. So as you can see, they're trying to attach it right now. We'll keep you updated. I'll ask CHP in a moment if they have any update, but they said several hours. So at least they transferred the oil. I'll send it back to you now.
Okay, so a lot of detailed work still needs to be done. I don't know if they're going to try and unhitch the trailer from the cab and tow them separately, or if they're going to try and do it all at once.
Right again, Robin.
But we'll be there.
You called it. You were like,
Unfortunately.
not this morning.
Yeah. And a lot of folks, I think, were holding off. They were
Yeah.
thinking, oh, maybe this will be gone by the time I hit the road. So earlier this morning, traffic wasn't as bad. But now we have the late risers, the late rollers, we call them, on the road. And the traffic is just getting worse
It is,
and
okay.
heavier. Yeah, especially 580. 580 is taking the hard hit because this is right at the bottom of the 580 West connector to 80 West that brings you into San Francisco. So that backup is pretty tough on 580, spilling all the way through Oakland and into San Leandro. Here's an alternate for you. If you can cut over, if you come from 24 or if you're on 580, you can merge over to 980, dump off at West Grand, use that to get into San Francisco. You can continue over to the Nimitz and use that instead, or you can just hop off and use city streets to the East Shore Freeway, get on at Powell Street in Emeryville. So you do have several options there as far as your alternate routes. As far as your delay and your backup, there it is, all the way into San Leandro at about 40 minutes to make it from Castro Valley to downtown Oakland. Now, the Nimitz, it's better. You're going to save a little time, but it's not smooth. It's very heavy from 238 right here all the way to downtown Oakland. You just can get around that closure, but you're still sitting in a lot of heavy traffic. So keep that in mind. Definitely consider BART as well. This is what it looks like when you finally make it through all the heavy traffic and up to the toll plaza. Yes, there's more traffic to sit in. You have the backup at the pay gates, cash lanes, fast track lanes, and it's pretty busy across the upper deck too. And one more bridge, the Richmond Santa Fe westbound 580, still jammed up from Harbor right through the toll plaza. John?
Well, Robin, skies today very cloudy ahead of tomorrow's rainfall. Rainfall that is going to be seen all the way from tomorrow to tomorrow evening into Thursday. It's May. It's late in the year to be seeing that much rain, and it's going to be a rain that takes us over our monthly averages in just a matter of a day. So big switch up just around the corner. There's your cloud cover over Tiburon, and temperatures this morning are cool because of that cloud cover. Going to stay a little bit cooler too because of it. Let's make our way through Futurecast. You see rainfall initially tomorrow morning. The heaviest of it, though, is going to arrive into tomorrow afternoon. That punch of yellow and orange right there, right in the middle of your drive home from work tomorrow. So do expect your Wednesday evening commute to not be so fun. Showers will continue on into Thursday as well. Today, though, just looking at the cloud cover ahead of these showers. So do expect dry conditions today. 60s and 70s for your highs, making for a cooler one, but still a comfortably cool one. I'm talking more about tomorrow's rain still ahead in your forecast. Back to you.
Thank you, John. 8:35. A community is remembering an East Bay teenager who died in a car crash over the weekend. Here was the vigil last night for 16-year-old Armando Canales. The Washington High School football player was killed on Saturday morning. A suspected drunk driver was driving the wrong way on Highway 17 in Santa Clara County and hit the car that he was traveling in with friends. Friends and family say that he had big plans for his future.
My son was full of life. I can tell you that he would always throw that cheesy smile up, always having a smile on his face.
I know I'm gonna go somewhere for him. He's my motivation. I love him.
Here's the driver that was involved in the crash, 28-year-old Ashley Marie Oliver from San Jose. She faces charges now for his death. A pedestrian is in the hospital after being hit by a car in Fremont. She was hit on Thornton Avenue near the 880 entrance, and she was taken to the hospital with a head injury. Police do not believe the driver was under the influence, and we don't know yet if that driver will face any charges.
5 men now accused of participating in a drug ring and possessing guns in South San Jose. Their arrests are part of a month-long FBI investigation. Investigators took down the men's hash oil lab, and they also, in the process, found $42,000 in cash. They also found cocaine, heroin, 8 handguns, and an assault rifle.
No neighborhood should have to live in fear and be victimized because of a small number of individuals that are in that neighborhood armed with firearms.
It's not just taking bad guys off the street, it's taking the right bad guys off the street and making sure that they answer for their crimes.
3 other people were arrested for violating probation. Those arrests were in response to the rising gun violence in the Seven Trees neighborhood there in San Jose. Now to the East Bay, where police are trying to track down the thieves who robbed the Round 1 bowling alley at the Sun Valley Mall in Concord. Yesterday morning, 2 robbers went into the bowling alley, one of them armed with a gun. They tied up the employees in the safe room and then took off with the cash. The robbery comes after 2 previous violent incidents involving groups of people fighting inside the bowling alley back in April, and then there was another brawl in the parking lot of that mall 2 weeks later.
They don't have proper security or cameras or lighting, you know. Sometimes things like that can happen.
Yeah, I think they need, a little bit more security. I know the Sun Valley Mall has their own security, but I think, if they want to keep this place open late at night, it's going to attract the younger crowd. They're out here drinking, partying.
And thankfully, nobody was hurt during yesterday's robbery. They're still, again, looking for those robbers this morning. We'll take a quick break. It's 8:38. Still ahead on the KRON 4 Morning News. The search is on for a young porch pirate after a child was caught on camera stealing a package from a home here in California.